Welcome to another edition of Morning Market Call. We are shooting here on location at the Investors Professionals Conference in front of the Hinckley Alumni Building. I'm Doug Mumford, your host, and with me today, special guest David Bradford, Chairman of the Board of Fusion.io.
Sure.
Welcome to the show, David.
Thank you, Doug.
Thanks for being here. For those of you who are not aware, Fusion.io is a very promising company that was founded here in Utah and has been ranked by the Wall Street Journal as the #2 most promising company in the country. So a very exciting business. They will tell us just briefly what Fusion.io makes.
Well, we make what the pundits describe as the world's fastest storage device. It's solid state memory that sits in the back of a server. You can buy it from IBM, HP, Dell, and it greatly accelerates data flow through a corporate network while reducing someone's carbon footprint in a data center.
What I was most interested in hearing about as I talked to you earlier today, very exciting company, but you have on as your Chief Science Officer a very interesting and special man, Steve Wozniak, who, for those that aren't familiar, was the co-founder of Apple Computer along with Steve Jobs. Now, Steve Wozniak, once he made a bunch of money doing Apple Computer, hasn't been real involved in a lot of companies since that time. And I would like to hear you retell the story about how networking and serendipity helped you bring on a legend in the computer space to become the Chief Science Officer of this startup.
Well, it's kind of a crazy serendipitous series of events, but I've always believed in the importance of networking, right? And to connect people together. And 90% of success in life is just showing up. So when we moved to Orange County in 2004, my wife and I got involved in the Orange County Management Society down there. And I became president of the Orange County Management Society for the BYU Marriott School. And I did that for, a year or two. Kind of toward the end of that tenure, my wife and I decided to move back to Utah. She wanted to get her PhD here at BYU. But one of my last things, I attended one of these Orange County Management Society events, and I met a fellow, and he says, I understand you're moving back to Utah. Can you go meet with my son? You've been a practicing lawyer for many years, and can you sit down with him and maybe refer some clients and that sort of thing? I said, well, okay, that's fine, and I'm always willing to help somebody like that. I've been in that situation before. So when I came back, I met his son, Brian. We had a nice conversation, and I told him, referred some clients to him and that sort of thing. I didn't think much about it, and about 6 months later, Brian calls me back up, and he says, David, I have a request. I'd like you to speak to the Utah Bar Association annual meeting in Sun Valley, Idaho. Can you do that? I thought about it for the day, and I says, well, what the heck? I'll throw my golf clubs in the back of my car. I'll drive up to Sun Valley, Idaho. I'll give the speech, and I'll drive back. So I get up to Sun Valley, Idaho, and I'm kind of thumbing through the program, and it's got my name, some other people. The keynote speaker, Steve Wozniak, of all people. And I went, well, I haven't met Steve. I'm going to hang around for this. And I'd been in information technology since 1980, so I had a passion for it. So I hung around, and I happened to sit right next to his executive assistant. Great girl by the name of Julie Roebuck. And Julie got all excited about introducing Steve to me when Steve was done with his speech. He finished speaking, he came up to me, and I started to tell him about Fusion.io and solid-state disk technology, and he got all fired up about it. So long story short, I invited him to join the advisory board, and much to my pleasure and surprise, frankly, he agreed to join the advisory board. So a couple of months later, we had our, at the time, Chief Technology Officer David Flynn fly down to Silicon Valley to meet with Steve and tell him a little bit more about the company. Steve got even more fired up about Fusion.io. I eventually signed an offer letter inviting him to join the company as Chief Scientist, which he accepted. And he's been very active in the company since January 1, 2009, and is really making a huge difference. I think, Doug, what I was saying to you earlier, that if any of those links in that chain had been broken, had I not been the president of the Orange County Management Society, had I not met Brian's father, had I not agreed to meet with Brian when I moved back up to Utah, had he not invited me to go speak to the Utah Bar Association, had I turned that offer down, I would have never met Steve Wozniak, and Steve Wozniak wouldn't be the Chief Scientist for Fusion.io today. So that's the story.
Thank you so much. That is fascinating. We're told all the time in the MBA program the importance of networking, of putting yourself out there, and it's obviously paid off in your life with your company. We wish you the best of success. I'm part of Cougar Capital, and we're investors in Fusion.io, so we definitely have some skin in the game, hoping Fusion.io continues to go onward and upward.
I've got one more little pitch. Speaking of networking, I've just launched a new website called lds.biz, www.lds.biz, and it's kind of a LinkedIn, Facebook combination for the LDS world. So if your viewers are interested in going out and checking out the site, we just launched on Tuesday. We already have over 600 members. So
fantastic.
If you want to network online, do it through lds.biz.
Great place. That's lds.biz. And for other episodes of Morning Market Call, go to mmc.byu.edu. Thanks again, David, for being on the program.
Thank you, Doug.
For Morning Market Call, I'm Doug Mumford. Join us next time.
Morning Market Call is brought to you by the Marriott School of Management in cooperation with the Brigham Young University Department of Communications. MMC is made possible by generous donations from Larry Tasjan and Gary Williams. This show was produced by Jeff Butler, Janessa Cloward, David Wood, and Doug Mumford, with line producing by Beth Grimmett. For more information, please follow us on Twitter and Facebook.